24 missed assignments with a 3.2 GPA. This was me freshman year. I was your average lazy student. Then, over the course of the next 3 years, I was able to graduate with a 4.7 GPA with straight 5s on all my AP tests. All while working a part-time job, starting on a varsity sport, working out 6 days a week, and having enough time for my social life. Today, I'm going to give you the 3 biggest tips on how I was able to accomplish this. Starting with number 1, planning ahead. One thing that I found I did frequently freshman year, I heard other students say was, "There's a test today?" This cannot be the case if you are trying to achieve anything above a 3.5 GPA. I use my planner religiously. You have to write down all of your assignments and your tests because I promise you your brain is not going to remember all that. The 2 things I did for my planner was 1, I'd make sure I always had it on me in my backpack, and at the beginning of every class, I'd lay it out, just in case a teacher sent him an assignment or a test that was coming up. I would oftentimes even stay up to like 5 minutes late after class just to make sure I wrote it down, because if I told myself, "Oh, I'll fill it in my planner when I get home," I knew that wasn't gonna happen. Another thing that I did was every Sunday night, I would take a look at my school's online portal and I would write down all my assignments and then put it in my planner. A super easy way to get bad grades is to not do any of the assignments, because number 1, homework is a decent % of your overall grade. And number 2, you can actually learn the material through doing the homework. Who would have thought? Another thing I constantly see is students not preparing far enough ahead for a test. Once I'd have my test written down in my planner or a quiz, I would then back up 2 days and make sure by that time I had all the material mastered. This extra 2-day gap period where I'd have more time with information allotted me a little bit of a grace period in case something came up the night or 2 before and I knew that I already knew all this stuff, or if I had further questions I could ask before the test. If you are still learning new material the night before the test, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, especially the big thing just being you not understanding and not having enough time to ask any questions. You want to go into your tests and quizzes with the knowledge that you know everything. Speaking of our ability to perform well on tests, this takes me to number 2, taking care of your health. Now, while this might not seem abundantly clear when speaking about good grades, getting enough sleep is so vital. If you want a surefire way to get a bad score on a test, make sure you get a bad night of sleep right before. I made sure I averaged about 8 hours of sleep every single night, even if that meant sacrificing study time to go to sleep earlier. Kids who pull all-nighters and everything, maybe some of the geniuses do well, but for students who can't function on low sleep, like almost every single human being, this is not a good idea. Not only did I make sure that I got enough sleep per night, which helped me, but I made sure that I was working out and taking care of my body. Staying healthy and putting on muscle helps you with your immune function and helps you not get sick. Getting sick will throw you behind in school like no other. So definitely taking care of your health will help this. Now, if I'm gonna be honest, when we're talking about health, my nutrition was not the best in high school, but I did track my macros and my protein, which definitely helped. Big thing is work hard, rest hard. If we're gonna be putting all this time studying, where the real memorizing happens and the real learning happens is when we're asleep. So making sure we're getting adequate sleep, working out, and taking care of our nutrition is so vital. And number 3 is probably the most uncomfortable tip, but the most necessary. And this is embracing failure. You have to be okay with failing because a lot of learning is failing. Actively avoiding that uncomfortable feeling of being wrong is exactly why you're going to be wrong in the future and not actually be able to fix the mistake. A lot of kids are embarrassed to be wrong, but I say be wrong and be loud about it. You want to ask as many questions as possible. So while the teacher is talking, I'll do 2 things. Number 1, I'll be making predictions in my head of what do I think is the mechanism behind what they're saying. And most of the times, this prediction is wrong. But the fact that it's wrong and that I learn what it really is helps it stick that much more in my memory. Number 2 is I would constantly try to relate outside information into the information I was learning, often in the form of a question. So I'm really into lifting. So when we're learning about the muscular system, I was asking a lot of questions about how does it practically transfer over. And by doing this, I was able to really solidify my knowledge. But I was wrong a lot of times. A lot of times my questions were stupid or dumb. And the kids who are judging you for getting questions wrong are typically the kids who do really poorly in school. Another thing that I would do is face my mistakes head on. Every single test, even if I only got a couple questions wrong, or if I got like 50% of them wrong, I would go into the teacher's classroom and ask if I could look over the test. I would look at every single question I got wrong, make sure I understand why I got it wrong. Was it a test taking strategy? You know what I mean? Was I reading through the question too fast? Did I not draw out what I thought it was? Did I just misread it? Because sometimes that happens, and that way you can forgive yourself a little bit and realize where your mistake was. Or was it a concept that you thought you mastered, but you misunderstood completely? So when you go back and you're like, why did I get this wrong? This looks right to me, and have the teacher explain it to you, That way you don't make the mistake in the future. Being wrong now helps you in the future tests. This is so vital for quizzes and tests leading up to a unit test or a semifinal or a final, because a lot of these questions are either reused or the same topics are used just in a different format. And so you want to know, where's my weakness so I can go all in on that and then get 100%. Not trying to brag, but I got a lot of 100%, and a lot of kids don't think that's possible because they've set the standard way too low. But if you go back and correct every single mistake that you made in concepts, there's a finite amount of information that gets covered on every single test. So you can absolutely learn every single thing, and then through practice and test taking strategies, you can get really, really high marks on your tests. That's it for today's video. Planning ahead, taking care of your health, and embracing failure. If you do these 3 things, I guarantee your grades are going to dramatically improve. If you want a little bit more help with number 2, taking care of your health, go ahead and check out this video right here. Or here, I don't really know where it is.